Here today to talk to you about business intelligence. If you own or run a business and you're thinking about getting in the market of using business intelligence in your business, we wanted to talk to you today about some of the things we hear that prevent people from getting started.
Oftentimes we hear that people understand that data analytics or business intelligence is something that's important. I feel like I should be using it in my business, but I don't know how to get started, and I've got a lot of perceptions in my head about what it takes to get started, and they're holding me back from doing anything about it.
Exactly.
So we're here to talk, there's three things that we hear over and over.
And you don't have to be an expert to make a good decision either. It's about making sure that you just know how to take those first steps.
Mm-hmm.
So the three things that we hear the most common during this conversation that prevent people from starting are, the first one is, my ERP system is old, my ERP system doesn't work, it's outdated. If only I could fix my ERP system, then we could start using data and business intelligence.
Right. The reality is a lot of businesses have a number of different systems, whether it's an actual ERP system or it's Microsoft Excel or Access or a custom-made FileMaker ERP system, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different systems, and oftentimes if your system isn't state-of-the-art, brand new, just implemented, you've got this idea that my system's not good enough. An ERP system's core function is to process transactions and store data and information. It wasn't built to do decision-making for the business.
Exactly. I can't tell you how often we hear executives or managers of businesses say or expect that their ERP system is going to do the reporting for them. Mm-hmm. That's going to change the way that they're thinking about their business. The ERP system collects data. They're great at collecting data. It's really analytical systems that take that data and then change the decision points instead of just capture it every day on a day-by-day basis.
Exactly. And so if you've got an ERP system that's older or you feel like it's dated, obsolete, it probably has everything that you need to do data analytics. It's got the data and it's good data.
Exactly. We've seen a number of old, outdated, fake, busted systems that have the right data, and it's just a matter of getting to it so that you can present the information, put it inside of an analytical system to show what decision should I be making with that data that already exists.
Yep.
So first one, ERP system is old, it's outdated. That shouldn't stop someone from looking at business intelligence or an analytics tool.
Exactly.
So the second thing, which kind of goes along with that, is, am I going to get any new information, or I won't change the way I'm running my business because of a software?
Right. A lot of people feel that they already know the answer, or their experience or their gut is telling them something, and based on what that experience is, they know it to be the right thing. And oftentimes it is the right thing. But when you're making decisions that are based on tribal knowledge or experience over time, oftentimes they become subjective, and they're not the most accurate possible way of coming to that decision. And so, you think about data analytics. Data analytics is not a product. It's not a software package. It's not any given thing that you can implement. It's a mindset change of how you're running your business.
Exactly. So often we hear that there's a product called business intelligence or a reporting product, but it's about understanding the why. And it's really what's happening in my business and what are the decisions that I'm making, and how do I make a better decision with information that supports and lets me make a better decision quicker and faster so my business doesn't work the same way tomorrow that it does today.
Exactly. Yep, that why piece is really critical. It's changing the way that you make decisions so that they're better every time.
So if we don't need to replace our ERP system, and we're going to change how we're thinking about the business and how our business operates, it has to be really expensive, right? It's got to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to get a tool that's going to change how I'm working or operating my business, right?
But that's not right, because and this is probably one of the biggest misconceptions we hear, misperceptions, is that it's expensive. It's really expensive. There's tons of hardware costs, software costs, thousands of dollars, tons of time, and it's a big investment, a big undertaking, right?
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah, so a couple years ago in 2015, new software was released called Microsoft Power BI that really kind of changed the way that this software goes to market. They released a model that was a freemium model, which kind of follows how people look at their iPhone apps and who pays to download an iPhone app nowadays. Right. And so they released it with this model, and then every other competitor followed suit. So now you have all these great products like Microsoft Power BI, Tableau, Click, Google Analytics, that all offer these free packages and platforms. So there's no longer a need to go out and buy this big expensive software. All these tools can hook directly into whatever old outdated ERP system that you have,
right,
and can pull the data right out of it, and you can start using it and doing things with it.
Right, and they're hosted on the cloud, so you can access them anywhere without any of the costs of storing that information.
So let's talk a little bit about a real world example for this, because oftentimes it comes down to price and money, right?
Sure.
So you have a really good example from a past client who started just introducing business intelligence inside of their manufacturing operation. Can you tell a little bit about how much are they spending, how long did it take, and what they're actually getting out of it?
Yeah, so it's a manufacturing company, about 300 employees. They had this idea that, you know, it was going to take a long time to set up, and they weren't really sure what decision was going to be made after they implemented data analytics.
Yeah.
What they do now is they spend about $20 a month, so just over $200 a year, and they're using this tool, among many other things, to help monitor their tooling spend on the shop floor. How many tools am I using? Who is using the tools? How many tools and how many dollars am I spending over time? And so they're actually putting visibility into a behavior on the shop floor that's important to track because it's a direct expense for the business.
So from a cash out of the business, there's a couple $100 that they're spending every year for this. It took about 8 weeks of time to set this up.
And as a result, this organization has saved $60,000 on average per month since this was implemented.
So just doing some rough math, $60,000 per month over the course of a year.
It's
$250,000.
It's a substantial savings. It's over $250,000 that they saved in their first year of doing it.
Wow. So if money or if capital expense is a reason why you're thinking about just this, it's this big undertaking, it doesn't have to be.
Right.
So we don't need a new ERP system. We're going to change how we think about and how we make decisions in the business. And it's not super expensive to get started.
Yeah, and one thing that's really important to consider during this whole thing is that every organization is on a maturity scale in terms of how they use business intelligence. And so where your business might be is different than a business in a different industry of a different size. You know, you're using different systems, but ultimately you're trying to get to a point where the data that's in your systems is driving the regular decision making. And there's a process of getting to that ultimate goal. And every business starts somewhere along that process depending on, you know, a number of different factors.
Yeah, it's understanding where you are and how to take the next steps to move farther along that curve.
Right.
Most businesses we work with are tracking their data in Excel. They're producing reports the month after and trying to figure out what happened in the business. And what we're finding is that just through a couple small tweaks, we're able to, one, automate that information, which is a giant step forward, so they're getting the information in more real time. And two, we're getting visibility to the right people who are making decisions so that they're actually changing the way that they're operating the business. And that's really where you see that shift start to occur, is because the momentum and the belief, and then you get the buy-in that the business is changing, and so you start investing your time and your business's efforts into progressing and getting better systems and making better decisions as an organization. So relating back to, if you're an owner or if you run a business and you're thinking about business intelligence, but you don't know what that first step is, our challenge to you is, what's the one area of your business where if you were making a better decision, it would just change the way your business is operating? Your business would never be the same. That's the area that you should start, and you should take that first step, because all those major roadblocks aren't actually roadblocks. It's very easy to get started, it's very easy to get the ball rolling, and it will change the way that you run your business.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time today. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you have any questions or want to learn more about business intelligence, please feel free to shoot me an email. Make sure to tune in to our next conversation around how to use analytics and business intelligence in the real world.